good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, and welcome to Spot Callers, the show where we review wrestling off the beaten path. I am Justin Harris. It is very early.
Yes, unfortunately, we have to record this very early, uh, but it's been a minute since we've done this. We did the G show, which took up most of the summer, but now we're reviewing something different now. But it has been a very long time.
Yeah, super long. It has been about 2 months since I've been on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank Robbie Raff, our good for filling in for me on the last episode of Spot Callers. We took a little bit of a hiatus in order to do the G show, in order to get some things in order, but we are back on schedule here for the rest of the year. So, who picked this show?
Uh, we talked about it yesterday, and it was just like somebody was just like posting like ROH DVDs just like for sale, and then we were just like looking at stuff. Like I would say it was a mutual agreement for this one. Uh, like it.
Yeah, I am like the resident ROH stan. I've watched nearly all these. I've watched nearly all these shows. So it's been about 10 years, 10 or so, over 10 years since I watched this show.
Mhm.
I remember it being, you know, I was in college when this came out. I think that ROH is really what kind of got me back into wrestling. Just like watching CM Punk and all the other stuff. And so, of course, we're talking Death Before Dishonor 4. It, happened on July 15th, 2006 from the Philadelphia National Guard Armory. Sold out show, 1,100 people.
It sounds sold out as hell. Everybody in the show is like on their fucking feet. Like it's loud. Everybody's energized. It feels great to watch something like this.
The crowd is hot from beginning to end. This is the second ROH show we reviewed. The first one we did it like last December, I believe.
I think it was like no March. It might have been. Actually,
No,
I have the schedule on me right now. Let me see.
no, it was December. It was
December. December?
it was Final Battle,
Oh, okay, okay,
2008.
okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Final
yeah, yeah.
Battle. And from there we're going way back to 2006 with ROH stuff. This was a very formative time for the company. It was during a age of great fucking expansion for them. Of course, at this point of things were going in the industry, namely ECW returning.
Yeah, that's being made fun of on the card.
So I mean, at this point, WWE is trying to expand into Impact is finding their way, up the ladder, so to speak, trying to basically become the number two in the world. And ROH was firmly at number three at this. Just as an talent, a lot of this talent is actually in WWE now.
Oh
Was
yeah,
actually a very very big. Like
they,
if you look at this card, almost everyone's there.
yeah. We got Cassius, Chris Hero, Cassius Ono, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, Nigel McGuinness, Roderick Strong, AJ
Hmm.
Styles. Like, oh
Like
man,
everyone, pretty much everyone has gone through like it's like developmental promotion for them at this point. But at this time, you would have never thought that that could have happened at this point. Just looking at the way that people felt about it. I mean, we'll talk about the Jim Cornette promo that Cyrus was referencing about WWE in a second here, but things were happening, and of course, with ROH comes CZW, another company that at the time was kind of firmly entrenched in the indie scene and trying to grow. Like they had a lot of ECW esque feel that ROH was kind of trying to go for it without all the violence and cussing and crazy fucking storylines, but
yeah.
they were pit against each other. And were you familiar with the CZW ROH feud at the time or at all?
The only thing I really knew about the CZW ROH feud was when I was watching the Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe match. Like, you
Yeah.
know, they talk about it a little bit, but I've never seen like the actual match or like kept up with the actual feud. So I thought watching the show, it'll shed on some light on that for me when I saw the main event on the card.
doesn't really tell you everything. I
Oh
had to
yeah.
go back and like try and find it. And of course, they tell us to watch it, and we don't. So the feud started, and Chris Hero had called out Bryan Danielson after defending the CZW tag titles at Cage of Death 7. He
Mm.
took the beef to, no, don't, stop me if this ages us too much. He took the beef to LiveJournal.
Um. Ooh.
Before Tout, before Twitter, there was LiveJournal.
Yeah, that's dated as hell.
So from there, he called out Danielson to a ROH title match. At this point, this is kind of like the advent of the internet. You know, a lot of people, again, like we're not fooled by this type of stuff. Like companies use social media to push matches. They use social marketing. Look at the 24/7 title. Look at what RJ City did with David Arquette and
Yeah.
a show they reviewed a couple of months ago. Social media and the internet has been used to build matches, but at this point, it had never been done before, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Hey man, are ROH really ahead of the curve at this period of time? Like, especially like on the talent side. Like, hey man, now people, I know there's like some people that aren't fans of like matches being announced on social media or like feuds starting on social media, but I do think it's a nice and fast way to like get things done.
And honestly, at the time, we had, having to follow that, we had never seen anything like that. Like, us and being like, holy shit, like, is this real or not? Like, obviously, it wasn't real, but like, a lot of people felt as though it was a shoot. So January 14th, 2006, Dan Bryan invaded CZW show, disrespecting their fans, and attacked Hero with along with Roderick Strong, Nigel McGuinness, and Austin Aries. Later that night, Chris Hero and Bryan had their match. So this was actually one night where CZW and ROH were booked in the same city. So that at one point in the afternoon show, Bryan and the crew showed up. The night show for ROH, Bryan and Chris Hero and Chris Hero lost.
Mm.
So the feud, these are like the major points of the feud. I think the actual show kind of like crosses through and shows you all of these things, but I'm just kind of giving you where this kind of started at, because it kind of wrapped up a lot of different people and a lot of different feuds. Obviously, you had BJ Whitmer and Necro Butcher. You had Samoa Joe, who was in the fray. You had Bryan Danielson, who was on the outside. Nigel McGuinness, who clearly didn't give a fuck about the feud.
No, okay.
All right, let's get down to the show here. The first match was Seth Delay versus Delirious. A little bit of background on this match. Shingo was originally supposed to do this match, but he was injured the week before at FIP.
Oh my god, I would have loved that.
You
Oh
would have, you would
man.
have. I mean, at this point, Shingo was part of Dragon Gate, and he was in ROH a whole lot at this point, and that would have been a pretty cool match with Delirious. I don't think it would have went that. I
Oh,
didn't go very long at all.
but man, I honestly I did like Seth's performance here. Like I'm not very familiar with him, but I really liked his performance here. But man, if Shingo was really part of this match, I think I would have liked it a lot more, especially like knowing what he becomes now, just like being familiar with his name. Uh, yeah, man, that shit would have been sick.
Yes, there has been. I checked out his cage match rating. He's still in the Indies. He's still around. He's still kicking around. Mostly in the North East, doing shots for promotion and stuff like that. He just recently, or his last match was against someone who's on this card, Seth Sal Renaro.
Oh, okay, okay.
But this is pretty much a simple opening match. It went about 4 minutes. Delirious took control for most of it. Delirious, who is the head booker for ROH, still to this day.
Yeah. I'm familiar with Delirious from Honor Rising, when New Japan's in ROH's thing.
Yeah.
Was not a fan when I saw that shit, but seeing him here, like, yo, he could, yo, he fast as shit.
He was one of the I'd say one of the more popular fan favorites during the time. At this point, ROH's time. Of course, he is here in the opening match. I thought Seth Delay, like Cyrus said earlier, was very impressive here. But Delirious does get the best of him and beats him with the Cobra Stretch. It was a cool match. I 1 star, but not because I disliked the match, but mostly for me to give it anything higher.
Oh, okay. Uh, I didn't do star ratings for this one. I just wanted to watch the show, honestly. I thought the match was really good. I thought Seth was moving at a really good pace. Like he was really keeping up with Delirious. I do like Delirious's like chain wrestling style, like him doing like a lot of holds and combos and stuff. Like when he does like the hip toss, but he still locks it in into a submission. I thought that was really cool. But if I have to give it a star rating right now, I'll probably give it like 2.5. I thought it was really good for like a opening match and a sprint.
Honestly, like a lot of the matches on this show are like they're great, they're good, but it's like you can tell people were kind of like
Just give me the main
holding
event.
back.
Just give me the main
Yeah,
event.
like but the thing that's crazy is that like the crowd was it. So
Yeah,
it was
the crowd was hot, but like it kind of like fades away at some point. Like they do get like a little tired and they want shit to wrap up because I feel like everybody just wants to see the main event, including me. But there's a lot of good matches
yeah.
on this card.
All right. During the show, they intersperse the show with interviews from people that are taking an event with flashbacks of what has led us to the story so far. BJ Whitmer is the first one with a flashback to Tag Wars with the angle of Cornette being heel in the face, and then cutting a fiery promo against CZW. And right after that, Prince Nana is out and he hypes a new member to replace Alex Shelley in the embassy.
Very long, very 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 long promo. Like oh
It's
my
a
god.
long show. This is a long show.
I had to fast forward the whole promo thing. Like I thought it was just an interview, so I skipped it. And then when I watched back, for the DVD, and it's just like match by match, it was just like, oh, there's a match I missed in here because I like skipped the Prince Nana promo. Man, that shit was too long for me. I really couldn't keep up. But he's a really good heel because like all the toilet paper is getting thrown at him.
A lot of toilet paper. Did they go to Costco for all this toilet paper? Is my question.
Like
Jesus Christ.
where do they go to even get the streamers that they like use now?
They probably went to Party City for the streamers, honestly. But like the
Damn.
toilet paper is OD.
Oh yeah, like every match,
But it,
there's like a shit ton of toilet paper being thrown.
well, in this match that we're going to talk about between Colt Cabana and Jay Lethal versus Jimmy Rave and Sal Rinauro, the meme of this is that Jimmy Rave always got toilet paper thrown at him.
Hey man,
So
you
instead of
see here.
streamers, he would get toilet paper thrown at him. And that was, I mean, I guess I can't even remember when that started, but the biggest thing about Jimmy Rave was that I think it might have started his AJ Styles feud because back in the day, Jimmy Rave he stole or he used the Styles Clash and he called it the Rave Clash, and
Yeah,
they had a big match where AJ, if AJ versus Jimmy Rave, and whoever won the match would get the rights of the clash, and of course AJ won. And I thought that was one of the hottest matches that I've ever seen in my life because people fucking hate Jimmy, and so did I at this point. And I just remember what I used to hate this motherfucker so much.
I'm familiar with Jimmy Rave with his feud with Punk, like
Yeah,
them just going like back and forth for like months on end, and like the cage match going on with all the shit ton of shenanigans and stuff. Like, yeah, Jimmy Rave, like people hate his guts, and rightfully so.
I thought this match was very interesting to see where these people what these people look like then. You have Colt Cabana who is extremely over and still very crisp in this match. I thought
Oh
his
yeah,
whole really great. Then you have like Jay Lethal who looks a fucking mess.
who looks like
What
Whitney
was up
Houston.
with what was up with
Oh
black
my.
kids and this like straightening their hair? Like Ricochet had this thing too. Like I
It's the same trend with like black wrestlers going bald or wrestlers getting their hair dyed blonde. Like Samoa Joe had blonde hair at
yeah
some point. Some people
yeah,
had
bro. I
mohawks.
like Lethal getting his hair laid is wild. Like imagine putting a flat iron or that shit. Like what the fuck is he looking like here?
And now he's bald now, so now you see all that damage that was done to his hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like putting all that fucking product in his hair. He looks crazy here. But
Yeah,
look, he's seeing him like young and knowing where he would end up being. Like I think that it's very very like it's very special to watch. Like I might
yeah,
not have been like I might not be like the biggest fan of his work, but I still think that for someone who's just stayed with one company roughly, his whole I mean other than his Impact run, but like he's always like been and he's always been really really good. Like here he's more of a high flyer than he is now. And
yeah.
I think that it kind of meshes here with Colt Cabana. A lot of comedy in this match.
And you know what? The comedy's actually pretty good. I didn't hate it. Like um, like Jimmy Rave not wanting to like tag in. It is like some hilarious stuff because everybody's just like get in there, coward. But like just so you could just like shit on him to get in. Colt Cabana does great comedy stuff. Like he does it really well where he like mixes it up with the wrestling. It's not like just like a whole spot where he like says something or stop the match. Like it flows really well.
Yeah, I thought it really flowed, and especially in the final stretch. Like the final stretch is probably one of my favorite stretches in the show. I think that like Jimmy Rave and Sal, I love the story of them being unlikely tag team partners and kind of learning as they go. Like
Mm-hmm.
because I thought that like their tag team tag moves are really solid and really cool as well.
Yeah, and like tag combos, man. When we get to the Briscoe match with
Yeah.
wow, man, they're doing like they're doing some Tekken Tag 2 shit. Like this shit is crazy in there.
Jimmy Rave and Sal win after a spear super kick combo. I thought it was a really good match. Actually, I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, I would give it the same. It's a really good match. It's I thought originally I thought it was gonna be like a promo, and then when I saw the match back and I watched it, I thought it was gonna be like a sprint. I just thought it was gonna be something just to get like the heels over really fast. But man, it becomes a really good match. Like 1 minute in, like
Yeah, really solid, really quick too. I like that about it a lot.
yeah.
Next up, we get a flashback to the 4th anniversary show where Chris Hero gets into it with Samoa Joe. Man, it's so crazy to see Samoa Joe actually like running fast and being athletic.
He's hey man, he's old. I'm not even gonna lie and be like, oh man, he still kind of got it. Like Joe still has like the brawler, stuff going on really well, but like as far as like moving really fast and stuff, nah man, he ain't got it no more.
Yeah, that's dead. It's over with. Uh, Next up, ROH Pure Title match. Roderick Strong, McGuiness.
All right, wait,
This
hold
match
on,
is.
hold on. Do you like the pure rules?
I was just gonna ask you that.
Cause
the pure the pure rules was ROH with their
the head so far up their ass.
instead of just mid card title like they eventually do years later with the TV title,
Mm-hmm.
they of course had to give a pure title just to prove we are wrestling. This is real wrestling. This is like a trope that you see or you saw in like the mid 2000s
Yeah.
to the late 2000s when ROH was WWE doesn't do this type of stuff. So we're gonna change the whole game and we're gonna actually make them wrestle. Nobody really wants to see that. Like ROH pure title matches to me were always some of the most boring matches ever
Yes.
until Nigel got the belt, I'd say.
I don't remember which one I watched, like the first like pure title match that I saw, but I know it featured AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that this match has the problem that like 2 out of 3 falls have, where like you don't really care until both person have a fall. But like here is just like you don't really care what happens until like the person loses all 3 of their rope breaks.
Yeah, and in case anyone isn't familiar with the rules, in an ROH Pure Title Championship match, they're conducted under unquote pure wrestling rules. I don't know who created that.
Like whatever.
Uh, so each wrestler has 3 rope breaks.
Mhm.
Once they use, once they exhaust their rope breaks, the submission and pin attempts under the rope legal. So that means that if you don't have any rope breaks, it's like a WWE 2K match. Once you're in one, and you're under the ropes, it doesn't matter. You can still tap out there. The
Yeah.
second is there are no closed fist punches to the face, only open hand slaps or chops. Punches to the other parts of the bodies are permitted, and the first use of a closed fist will get a warning and
Hmm.
lies a rope break. If he's already out of rope breaks, he'll be disqualified. Tell me, does that sound fun to
No.
you?
And
uh,
you would see like old school wrestling stuff like this, and like those old school wrestling matches, like they would end in like 2 minutes. Like nobody really gives a shit.
at all. the third rule is that a wrestler is subject to a 20 count if the wrestler goes to the floor. Obviously, we'll see that being used in this match. Also, unlike other championships, the pure championship can change hands on a count out or a disqualification. So in this match, you see Nigel trying to get a double count out, which means that it kind of cancels itself out and he won't lose it because they both counted each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Nigel, I have to say, is the best pure champion because he was cheating and he would
Mm-hmm.
do really cool things to break and subvert the rules and stuff like that. And you see that in this match. Uh, but it were never that good at all. I never was a huge fan of
Yeah, not a big fan of the pure wrestling matches. Like especially like watching this one, it was just like, yeah, I'm completely turned off by it. Like you could have just came up with like just a U.S. championship or like an intercontinental type thing, and then just kept the matches simple but really good. Like that's all you really had to do.
Yeah, I thought this was a strong. I think that this is. If I would have introduced to you like a Bryan Danielson pure title match and then showed you this one, you probably would have liked this one
Okay.
because like those Bryan ones were like literally like grapple fucks. Like they literally all they did was just grapple and hold the whole time. This one is cool because like I said, when Nigel got the belt, he introduced not only a heel with the belt, but a heel that would do underhand tactics to keep. And just to get to the match, I think Nigel is brutal in this match with the arm holds.
Oh yeah, like they're really laying it in. Um, this is like a real pure wrestling match, and Roderick Strong just continuously going for the stronghold, and
Mm-hmm.
Nigel McGuinness like loses like all three of his rope breaks real quick, and this is when like
Mm-hmm.
it's time for underhand tactics. Like I'm like,
Yes.
fuck it, I'm time to cheat.
Yeah, I fucked with that. Also liked the fucking chops, man.
Hey, Roger Strong, like one of my favorite, like my personal like top five. Um, he really like I do love the stronghold, and he really laying in the chops. I think he's a great heavy hitter, a great striker. Nigel McGuinness is like clearly like can't really keep up, so he's like trying to do all the underhand and dirty tactics and shit like that. But it's really cool.
Again, this match, it's really tough watching his ROH shows. Like I really missed him in ring. Like intelligence, his IQ in the ring is just top notch, man. Like I really
Yeah. Man, that tweet that he put out a couple years ago where he was just like, wow, me and Brian are finally in the WWE and we both can't wrestle. That shit hurts my heart every time I see him like on an ROH show. Like that makes me really sad.
that you know what that makes me want to do. It makes me want to review. Have a match.
Uh, maybe we could do like a bonus thing where we just like review a couple of their couple of their matches or like their feud. We just have
I
to.
think they have a DVD. Oh,
Hey man, you gotta buy the DVD this time.
whatever, man. I got cheese. Let's do it.
All right.
Uh, so back to the match. There was a really let me say it, like the thing that brought this match down for me. If I was younger, I would have thought this was hard.
Oh
The
yeah.
fucking slingshot lariat spot.
I wasn't a fan. Nah.
There is no way that spot will ever work for me ever. There is like a moment where Roderick literally runs in circles as he waits for Nigel to come back up from the ropes and give him the lariat that'll put him down. It gets a "This is awesome" chant, and I was like, I do not like the slingshot lariat. I think that Dean Ambrose kind of proved how silly that move was. Because the thing is, people were shitting on him for using it, but I was like, when Nigel said it was wrong, they did it the same way.
You know, Dean Ambrose made it look real dumb, especially when he would like lean into the second rope like mad low. uh, and then Hangman Page doing it like from like doing his buckshot lariat thing. I was just like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of like the slingshot lariat thing. I do like just the regular shit like a piping bomber or the axe bomber, whatever it's called. Like as long as it's effective and it works, like you don't really need to do the slingshot shit.
just terrible. So the climax of the match comes when Nigel tries to get a double count out by bringing Roderick up to the top where the apron is from like moving and you're trying to like, block him in because Nigel of course has some height and some power on
Mm-hmm.
Roderick. This doesn't work because Roderick is actually very strong and Nigel DDTs him to the floor, which leads to him winning by count out in about 17 minutes. I really like this match. I thought it was really, really cool, really creative way to end the match, and also a really cool way to protect Roderick without having him tap or be pinned. I
Yeah.
give it three. I give it three and 3/4 stars.
I gave it three and I'll give it 3.5. This match probably could have been infinitely better if it wasn't under pure rules. But it is what it is. Jim Cornette was really up his own ass when he made the fucking this stupid thing. It is what it is.
Next up, we see a flashback to Supercard of Honor and Better Than Our Best, where the CZW ROH feud started to pick up the most, which leads to Jim Cornette coming out and basically, get so far. He comes out and shits on WWE, ECW, and Vince McMahon,
Hmm.
uh, basically saying that, running him through the ringer here and saying that just every time you chant ECW, money and dollars into Vince McMahon's pocket, so you should chant ROH, and the
Wait,
ROH is
hold
the
on.
premier Philadelphia wrestling.
Now, I was watching this promo and I was just like, man, AEW is really probably gonna say some shit like this on
Oh
on their
yeah,
shows, and it's gonna be so hilarious because we know where ROH ends up, and Bischoff did like some shit like this during ECW, so it's gonna be so silly and weird. Like history
yeah.
really repeats
I
itself.
Every single time because when I was watching this, I saw that man, and they really thought they could beat WWE.
Yeah, they're and then WWE literally just gets all their talent because ROH really just couldn't pay them.
Then you look at what happens 2 years later, and it's like you've got so many people leaving the company to go to WWE. It's like it's karma, man. It's always karma. Do not shit on the competition because it will in the ass. I'm telling you. So he announces that Kenta will be returning Glory by Honor. Cyrus, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to turn this into our ROH show, but we gotta watch this show
uh Man,
in some way, shape, or form. We have to watch one of the Kenta Bryan Danielson matches.
wait, I'll probably do some research and see which shows it's on and see if it's even available for us to even get our hands on. Because
Dog.
ROH isn't the best at archiving.
Oh, we know. Our first episode almost didn't happen because of that. So he also mentions, and this is a long-term thread and storyline throughout the show, that he will not add Homicide to the Cage of Death match, which brings out Danielson, and he
Capper.
asked, he adds Danielson to the match after saying that Danielson actually makes him team captain,
Mm-hmm.
which is just soaks in the heel heat for Danielson here. They Danielson wants to be part of the team. Cornette accepts, and that ends this promo segment, which leads to another flashback to the 100th show where Super Dragon shows up and absolutely kills BJ Whitmer, and Cesaro turns on ROH.
Fire.
Uh, Next match,
Wait,
Irish
not
Airborne.
Cesaro.
Not Cesaro. I'm sorry.
Claudio.
Claudio
Whatever the fuck.
Castagnoli. Castagnoli. I'm sorry. I had it written in my notes that it was Cesaro, which is actually crazy. He's been Cesaro longer than he's been Claudio to me.
I
uh,
believe it.
Next match is Irish Airborne versus the Briscoe Brothers. It's so crazy to think how different the Irish Airborne look now. They're the Chris Brothers, of course. They're in Impact Wrestling. They were part of the
Okay.
Yeah, they're the Chris Brothers, and they were part of the feud with not the feud, the stable with Sami Callihan and Impact.
What?
Yeah, that was them.
Oh man. And they talk about WWE wasting talent? Oh man.
I thought from what I saw during the brief times I watched Impact over the past year, I thought that they looked good.
Oh nah, like as good as like standing right next to Sammy Callahan, but like I don't think they're really getting the opportunities like Sammy Callahan is getting.
Oh well, no, I think Jake is the X Division champion right now.
Oh, but like what about tag team?
Oh, I don't think that they're doing tag. Well, I mean, they don't have to do tag team. I mean, you're saying that they're not getting that look. I mean, one of them is the X Division champion.
Okay.
They've main evented shows. They've done a lot. I'm not. I wouldn't say that. Like I have been seeing them pop up. Like they're part of a huge storyline last year.
Cause like the only like Impact teams I see that like ever gets any press or people really talk about is LAX and the Rascals or Radicals. What do they call it? Rascals, right?
The Rascals.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say. I mean, I think that they're doing well for Impact. I think they're a really talented tag team, but they're very different here. They're more
Man.
so like a cruiserweight tag team here against the Briscoes, who again are on. They're on fire at this point. They're like one of the best tag teams in the world. It's so crazy that they had kind of held that man. Now no one even talks about them because they've never gone outside of the ROH
Yeah.
platform and done anything else.
Like as far as it goes to like New Japan with their agreement with ROH, but like even though like everybody probably thinks like the Briscoes are shitheads right now, or regardless of how you feel, they're really two like top 5 tag team of the decade. Um, you look at some of the stuff that they put on from early ROH till now, like single success between the both of them and tag team success, and just how they work in these matches, and still till this day, man, like they put on some really good shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone should kind of like forget about these guys, but it is true. Like they really like expanded their reach beyond ROH. They've done all that they can in ROH. Honestly, like I think they're heels again, and
Uh,
it's like crazy.
they're heels again, and I think last time I saw them, they were rolling around with Bully Ray, and it's just like you do not need Bully Ray. You guys are like one of the greatest tag teams of all times. Like
Yeah,
you don't
but
need him.
they can't go anywhere else because all they do is a cursory glance at their Twitter account,
Oh,
or really
oof.
Jay's Twitter account. I think Mark is like the. I don't even think Mark uses Twitter, but
Just
on to the match.
pay the $8, man.
I thought the match was really strong. One of the more solid matches on.
Yeah.
Again, there were a lot of crazy spots, and once this match picked up after all the again, ROH does these like 10-minute holds,
Like let's wrestle guys, and then we do our crazy like show our amazing athleticism.
and that is like a crazy formula to have. Even like New Japan kind of does this now, but they
Oh
kind
yeah.
of mix it up with like outside the ring spots. Like this one's just straight up. Like the first 10 minutes is nothing but hold spots. But once it picks up, it's really crazy. I really like the stereo shooting star presses spot there. I thought that was really
Fire.
impressive. Really good. Uh, how did you feel about them? Just watching them here.
Man, this is like a great performance. Like off rip, I'll just say that I gave this match 4 stars. Like I think this is an amazing match. Like usually I'm not a big tag team guy, because the matches do go fairly long. But shit, man, this shit was amazing.
Yeah, really good match. Which saw the Briscoes pick up the win after Mark gave one of the Irish Airborne the cutthroat driver, a move that you do not see anymore.
My, hey man, they're doing some crazy
Looks like
shit.
yeah, the cutthroat driver is literally one of the most dangerous moves you could ever do. 3 stars. Really enjoy. Moving on. A Steel promo. He's from Chicago. No clue why he's talking like he's from Memphis here. Then you get a flashback to the Weekend of Champions where BJ Whitmer and Super Dragon basically try and kill each other. Just they like BJ Whitmer did some really crazy shit.
Yeah, doesn't
In
he like
ROH.
slams Super Dragon on some concrete, right?
Yeah, just what the fuck?
Raw, like shit. And then
Uh,
commentary says like, "Oh, is like Super Dragon gonna be here?" And he was just like, "Nah." After getting slammed on that concrete, and I don't think he's showing up. And it was just like, "Is he okay?"
no, it is pretty much. Did they get paid, or was there a PWG show that day? Um, Next match was AJ Styles versus Davey Richards, and the crowd is absolutely molten for AJ Styles. Like he's probably one of the most popular acts on this card, probably like top 3 pops of the night.
Yeah. I think it's AJ, Daniel, and then obviously like the main event because they were red hot for that.
Yeah, a lot of, and let me just put a disclaimer here. I am not the hugest fan of Davey Richards. I think he is incel the wrestler. His character is terrible to me. I think the Chris Benoit impersonation, even though this we're like a year before he actually passes, he actually gets worse than this with all the Chris Benoit tributes that he does here.
Oh Jesus!
I hate the cutthroat stuff. The middle finger stuff is even worse. Like he just comes off as like the wrong type of wrestling fan here. Where it's like he loves the work rate and not actually the character work, and you see that a lot in this match. Like there are points where he just straight up no sell shit. Like
Yeah,
he'll just get right back up from a move and just hit AJ, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
and like and I think AJ not like giving him like a receipt or like just telling him to like yo start selling shit. You know, like I don't like that point in the match never really comes, so it just becomes like just like a crazy back and forth, and like you know,
It's like a fight. They try to sell it
yeah.
or structure it like a shoot fight, and I don't believe it because I don't think Davey Richards is a tough guy at all. So like,
Also, you're
it
not
just
doing these spots in a fight.
yeah. Like AJ's selling, like he's selling like his back and all the stuff that Davey's doing to him.
Mhm.
AJ goes after the actual leg or the knee. Davey stops selling it after like a minute.
Oh yeah, like and then commentary tries to mask it with like the adrenaline. That's why he's not selling shit. But it's just like, no, this dude is just being an asshole and not giving AJ anything to work with.
Yeah, there's a lot of miscommunication. There's like it's like a German suplex spot or like a rope spot
Hmm.
where AJ does has no clue what Davey's doing, and it's like it's somehow like, and AJ's not in his second. He's not in second or third gear in this match at all. You have to remember at this point he's still in Impact, so he's actually doing both shows at this point, and so he doesn't want to get hurt. And I think that there was like there was like kind of like some beef between ROH and TNA at this point where it was like
Yeah.
they didn't really want to loan out their talent anymore, which is also why Joe was not as a factor in the main event. If you didn't know,
Oh yeah, like he gets taken out pretty early into the match, and it was just like I figured that was the case when he just like
yeah,
fucks off and like disappears.
right. It's just a weirdly structured match. AJ does win with in a nice little spot with the
Mm,
Styles Clash and defeats Davey Richards. This is actually Davey's like second or third match in ROH also. He hadn't been around that long, and
yeah.
these like Cyrus, this gets worse. Like once he gets the ROH title, the matches become like 40 minutes routinely of this shit, of just this.
Mm. You know, we talked about it off off mic, and I was just like, oh, like I really like this match, and I think I sent a couple, like I sent far too many fire emojis, and I think it really gave the wrong impression. Like I liked it, but I think sending more than five made it seem like I loved it.
Yeah, it seemed like you thought this match was an all timer.
Oh no. Um, yeah, I gave him a lot of leeway because I think he's a, you know, he's starting out, but like it does get worse because we reviewed the final battle show, which is like 2 years after this, I think. And
Yeah,
he's in that
2 years.
street. It's in that street fight, and someone almost dies in that street fight, and the street fight sucks. It just sucks in general.
Davey Richards is literally the type of wrestler that the fans who love the pure title love,
Yeah,
pretty much. Like he is literally like he's like a I don't know. I've just never liked him. I just always thought that he was very disappointing as a wrestler, and the Benoit tribute bullshit just has to stop. I think pitting AJ with him, I think it was an attempt to make him like look good, and it
yeah.
only made him look more like an asshole. And this continues throughout his career. Next up, we get a Samoa Joe promo where you hear that he does not sound that much different than what he sounds like today.
Hey man, he has always been a great promo. Like that. That's for sure.
Then we get a flashback to Ring of Homicide, which is a great show. One of the loudest pops in ROH history when Homicide returns to help ROH. Really cool moment. Gave me chills. Really, Homicide is one of my favorite wrestlers
Hmm.
of all time. I really love Homicide. Which leads us to the next match, which is an ROH World Title match: Bryan Danielson versus Sanjay Dutt. From you would think that it was from Impact, but it's actually he was a CZW wrestler before. You
Um,
just know this. You just know this match isn't going to be much because literally like 25 minutes before Brian put himself in the main event.
um, what's weird here is like, okay, so you have this person going up against Brian Danielson, probably like, ROH's like top guy. Is Sanjay Dutt fucking CZW's top guy at the time? Because this dude fucking stinks.
Well, the thing about this match is that Brian wanted to claim another CZW wrestler to defeat, so he picked Sanjay, which
Oh
I
man,
guess was supposed to be like a heel picking like a weaker wrestler or something like that.
but like,
It's kind of like that. That's the equivalent of it.
but then like Daniel's trying to get like heat here, but both of them are getting fucking booed. Like
Yeah.
I feel like he should have probably for sure should have picked someone else because this match isn't great.
It's just you just know that Sanjay has no chance. I think that's the worst part about this match because
Oh
I
yeah,
thought the match was actually pretty good. Like I thought Sanjay did a really good job of, even though there was no chance, and I don't think his offense led him to think that there was any chance he could win. He
yeah.
was really good as a partner for Brian here.
Like well, like for the first like 4 or 5 minutes of the match, he's doing like the fucking chicken shit heel thing where like leaving the ring every like spot or just like slowing down the pace a lot, and I was just like, no, what's going on here? Please, like, don't do this, especially like for Daniel Bryan, who is like mainly a really like you know technical wrestler, and he does get
Mhm.
shit on by the crowd for like doing technical wrestling stuff, and it's just like I don't think Sanjay was really helping compliment Bryan's style. But I do think this helps Bryan in the future face people like The Miz, like chicken shit heels that are doing it much better than Sanjay is here.
Yeah. It just feels like nobody was really busting out all of their good shit on this show because
Mm-hmm.
the main event, which takes up half of the show, is literally imminent here. Brian does win with the unprotected elbow spot, which he was kind of introducing here to show how ruthless he was as a heel. Really good spot there, and he wins the match. I gave it 3 stars. So I thought it was really solid. That was cool. That was better than that fucking Davey Richards bullshit.
um, at first I was just like, oh, this match isn't really doing anything. But when Sanjay like starts, stop fucking around and like really starts wrestling and like getting his offense in, it becomes a really good match. So I would give it 3 stars as well.
All right, so from here, the announcers actually sign off, and from this point on, the
I
show has no commentary.
I love that they do this. Honestly, I love that they're like.
Yeah, they
I would love the insight, but they're just like, nope, we're just gonna let you enjoy the main event. Peace out. I really like that for a lot of these old like ROH main events.
yeah they mentioned that the main event is going to be so violent that they don't want to be around for it. They say fuck it. Well,
Fire,
in
fire.
all actuality, the actual announcers table had to be actually moved out because they had to push the whole arena, the whole
Mm-hmm.
ringside area back because to fit the cage of death. So I
The
mean, nice little
weirdest
touch there.
looking cage ever. I've
Yeah,
never
it
seen a
is. But
cage like this.
I like the idea of taking the yellow CZW cage and putting it in ROH and just having it be
Mm-hmm.
weird looking. It shows that it's like, yo, this is kind of like some when worlds collide type shit.
Yeah.
We get yet another promo. I'm guessing this is probably that long ass intermission that they had during the show to
Mm-hmm.
actually set the cage up. But Nigel doesn't care about anything. He says that he's the best pure champion ever and that he needs a tag partner. And then Colt Cabana appears out of nowhere and says that he wants a pure title match in a couple of weeks. Sure.
And he gets it.
We get yet another flashback to In Your Face, which was a month before the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lead right into Cage of Death with Team ROH, Samoa Joe, BJ Whitmer, Adam Pierce, Ace Steel, and Brian Danielson versus Team CZW of Chris Hero, Necro Butcher, Claudio Castagnoli, Nate Webb, and a mystery partner that nobody knows who it is until 35 minutes into the match. The big story here is who is the fifth partner, and the fact that the match is actually held under War Games rules, which the match can only end when all team members are in. A rule that no one told Necro Butcher in this match because he tries to pin like two
Yeah.
people.
um, I didn't know this was War Games.
Yeah,
So when they said this will be under War Games rules, I fucking popped. I was just like, holy
yeah.
shit, this is War Games. I
The
love War
best the
Games.
best way to end a feud ever.
Yeah, I love War Games and Survivor
Uh,
Series, and this is like, just like the blend of the two.
a weird thing that I noticed now that I didn't notice then was that, like, first off, ROH getting to do the coin toss from a ROH appointed official of JJ Dillon is kind of a conflict of interest, really weird. And
Also,
also,
how much did they
go
pay
ahead.
him?
Oh, I don't know. He was going in this match, this last half though.
Oh my god! Like,
Uh, but also another thing I noticed is that we should have called the ROH win just by the fact they won the coin toss.
oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's always weird to have the faces win the coin toss though. But the way that they structured it here was actually really cool. Having the faces win and they still had that, you would think they had no adversity, but they actually do during the match.
Yeah, and I think the adversity is very unique in this match. But we'll get
Yeah.
to that when the match starts.
Match starts off going with Claudio and Joe starting off, which is so interesting considering they had a match on Raw
Like
last
two
week.
2 weeks ago.
A lot of shit goes on here. I couldn't keep up with all of it, or make notes on everything. There is a ton of shit in this match that you just can't do anymore. You cannot do this shit anymore.
uh, I think I posted something on Instagram, and then Mark responded. He was just like, "Why?" There's a lot of
Yeah,
crazy shit that happens on this card. I mean, in this match, and it's insane.
yeah. It should it's just like it's insane. Some of the big story beats here. Brian does come in and immediately turns on Joe.
Like,
he, he
I thought this was really cool though, because they're teaming up, and it's just like, oh shit, my universe team is out here right now. That's amazing. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he tells Joe to go for the muscle buster. And then Claudio, who gets put into the muscle buster, it looks like he's gonna reverse it and kick out. But then Danielson gives him a chop block, and he still nails the muscle buster, but fucks up Joe in the process. And I was just like, wow, that's pretty fucking sick.
The crowd absolutely erupts for this
Insane.
turn.
Yeah.
But it's not a conventional turn here, as of course Brian is a selfish prick, and I really like the turn because Brian is selfish. He mentions to Cornette he has a match against Joe next month, and he doesn't want him to be in the match at all. He's like, he's not getting shit off
Ne-
on me.
Next month. Plotting ahead.
Then I love Cornette saying, "You stabbed me in the back," and then Brian walking away. It's a turn that makes logical sense, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very the booking on this, I think, is strong. Is just as strong to me as the work. I thought the booking was phenomenal here.
Yeah.
And it makes logical sense. You have to get Joe out. I don't think that he's an impact at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken out of the match up and shit. There's a bunch of crazy spots. CZW pretty much takes over with the fact that they've
No.
outnumbered ROH at this point.
Dog.
Uh,
CZW gets so much offense in. Like, they are beating their ass for at least 20
15
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, like at least 15, 20 minutes. Because you got to remember, it's War Games rule, so everyone
Yeah.
comes out in intervals of like 5 minutes. And then Hero, as he announces his final one, Hero has such a prolonged announcement. I think he actually goes over time as
Yes.
far as the intervals go. He's like Ace Steel actually interrupts him. We're hitting him with the trash can.
And
Like, trash.
I was like, why? Let him get the
Just
announcement off. Cracks him with a trash can.
and so he announces his biggest enemy. He says, my this person is in someone that I love, is someone that I hate, but he hates all of you more than he hates me. It is Eddie Kingston, who comes out and basically shits on ROH some more. They are literally, and I think this is kind of like the slowest point of the match, and it's like
Yes.
this is where the War Games rules kind of hinders it a little bit because we had to wait so long to get this moment, and it's felt like it builds over time, like way too long. But it is revealed the final member of Team ROH, which is kind of crazy. It's like a lot of people
Ooh.
complain about time, but I'll get to it after I announce it. But Homicide comes out. The crowd goes absolutely crazy. But you also see before he comes
Insane.
out, the Kingston and Hero are actually having problems before Homicide comes out, which leads into the
Yeah.
finish in a lot of ways. But Homicide comes out with Julius Smokes. Really cool moment where he stands at the door of the cage,
Yeah.
walks in,
He's looking at JJ
and
Dillon, me mugging that motherfucker. Tries to open the cage door, opens it, holds on to the wrong side. Oh my
and yeah, it's you know, really great moment here. A lot of people did not like it because essentially they felt as though it gave ROH 6 people.
Yes. That was my issue as well. Like it really did, because like you announced Brian as the team captain, and he gets into the match.
Leaves.
Yeah, but he just fucks off and leaves, and like it does give themselves like an extra person for no reason, but the crowd fucking loved it. But yeah, rules wise, like y'all some assholes.
A little shaky. A little
Yeah.
shaky. I would have not. Well, they had to get to the turn, which is why
Mm-hmm.
Brian had to be in it. And they could have announced that. Well, the thing is, can you announce a replacement in a War Games match? No, you shouldn't be able to, because if
Yeah.
that's the case, CZW could have just re-upped all their people.
Yeah. Especially when all of them are getting cracked with cowbells.
Yeah,
I hate it. I
which
hate
that
that
shit looked like it
part.
hurt. It looked like it fucking hurt.
I hate cowbell.
But like it was looking back on it, kind of fucks up the rules here, but it's a great freaking moment. And I
Yeah.
think that after that, the thing that's weird about that part is that after Homicide comes in, ROH beats their ass for like another 10
Oh
minutes.
yeah, they like the longest second wind ever.
I love when he hands them the forks. Why does he have forks just in his pants?
Little jail things, just little jail things, man. Uh, like there's a lot of shit that happens, and like there's a lot of there's a lot of weapons just being like out in the ring, but like none of it really gets used. Like the barbed wire bat gets used once, and
Yeah.
nobody swings it, but it gets used. Just think about that.
Just to run through some of the fucking frightening spots here. The hero moonsault off the cage being one of them.
The moonsault coast to coast. I popped for
The
that.
moonsault coast to coast
She was
being
insane.
another. Necro Butcher taking a back body drop onto chairs and hitting his neck and head on one of them.
On the wrong side of the chair, like the part that kind of like indents
Yeah.
on the back, I was just like, ooh, that shit hurt. Them throwing tacks at Necro Butcher's feet, hilarious.
Yeah. That sucked. Homicide flying 100 miles per hour through the ropes on a tope and landing in the cage.
The power driver on the concrete. I don't remember who did it, but it happened, and Jesus Christ.
I think it was Pierce.
Yeah.
Who did it. Adam Pierce did it. Adam Pierce, NXT producer now.
Oh, big fire.
Oh, not NXT producer. Actually, he's on the main roster. Matter of fact, I believe he's on SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
Whitmer, the Emerald Frozen, that Whitmer did to Necro Butcher on the barbed wire table.
Fire. Loved it. Hey man, this match is violent.
Really fun stuff. Yeah, really fun stuff here. Necro Butcher, to me, by far, him and Homicide, the MVP, just as far as the shit that they did and the pain that they took during this match.
Yeah.
The match ends. Well, the match was designed. I want to talk about this. The match was really designed.
Wait, who's the guy that gets pinned in the end?
Nate Webb.
Nate Webb. He's my MVP instead of Necro Butcher because he takes two insane spots where I forget who it is, but he like basically spins him around and then like does like kind of like a Death Valley driver where he just like lands on his neck on thumbtacks.
Oh, I believe it was Whitmer who did that. I believe.
Boy, that shit was insane.
Yeah, and I mean, this match was designed to make Homicide look like the biggest badass and babyface in the company. Let's be clear here.
And it sure as hell fucking did.
Yeah, it definitely worked. And we'll get to more of that in just 1 second. But Team ROH wins with Homicide hitting the cop killer onto the barbed wire table. I visibly gasped when I saw this.
I had to run it back. I had to rewind it. I was just like, no way. This match is spot caller certified. I loved all that. This match is insane.
Yeah, just an incredible match. I can't think of a better way to end this feud and end this whole thing. Really great match. Great full circle moment for Homicide coming back to ROH
Mm-hmm.
and defending the company that he loves and calls home. I give it 4.5 stars. I really like this, and it was probably my favorite match on the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Favorite match of the show. Poor, ROH basically getting a 6 man, and then Jim Cornette coming out dunking on CZW. uh,
Yeah.
Weird, but I'll give it like 4 1/3.
All right. So after this, Cornette has a CZW escorted out.
Just dunks on them for no reason, and then he was just like,
They,
"You
but they,
guys, you guys are
they pushed
fighters.
him out.
You guys are fighters. You guys are warriors. Get the fuck out!" And I was just like, "What? What's going on?"
So after this, Cornette says that he come and they keep talking about the wishes. This was actually a storyline point where Homicide has 3 wishes in the company. Just looking back on his career, he felt as though there were some things he wanted to accomplish. One of them, and Cornette says after he helped out ROH win and helped them win the match, he'll grant him 3 wishes. One of Homicide's wishes was a match against Steve Carino in an ROH ring, which
Mm-hmm.
that match is fucking insane as well. I don't want to turn this into an ROH show, but love that match too.
It's getting
Uh,
there.
2, a world title match, which he does get. And he gets it
Mm-hmm.
granted. And 3, he wants to reinstate Low Key, who knocked Cornette's teeth out a
Oh.
couple of months before. Cornette grants him the first 2, but he won't reinstate Key, which makes Homicide call him a liar. Cornette calls him homicide. That does not age well today. And Homicide spits in his face, which leads Pierce and Whitmer to beat up Pierce to beat up Homicide, while JJ Dillon locks him in the cage, and Cornette maces Homicide in the eyes. They basically handcuff Homicide to the ring. They start beating him with the belt, beating the shit out of him. Cornette whooping his ass.
Oh my god.
Hot post match angle, which starts the road to Homicide versus Danielson in Final Battle 2008 in September, or not 2008, 2006 in September, which is one of my favorite matches of all time. Love this ending. Again, the crowd was hot for this. I think Homicide becomes like the biggest babyface in the company at this point, and for the next, I want to say 6 months, he's on the road to getting his title match against Danielson.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Pretty good.
There's a lot of ROH classics that we should probably watch, but we're probably gonna have to like space it out a bit so this doesn't become a 100% ROH show.
Definitely. Sorry, guys. I mean, I know they like the ROH. Like I watched this company in my formative years of wrestling. Like they're the reason I got back into it. So of course, I'm very very much excited to review these shows whenever they come around. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. Death Before Dishonor 4. I really like the show. I think it's definitely worth it. I say like go out of your way to watch the main event. But if you had to watch cherry pick some matches, I choose the Briscoes Irish Airborne match.
Mm-hmm.
I would also pick the Bryan Danielson Sanjay Dutt match as well.
Yeah. For sure the Briscoe match, like please watch that. And the main event. The main event is must see. I don't care how you feel about, extensive violence or whatever, but like it's must see. This is a really good main event.
Yeah, absolutely. ROH, from there, like I said, it's basically the Homicide show all the way on to December in the Manhattan Center. They do kind of wrap up the CZW feud, I believe, the night after with Whitmer versus Butcher, which
Mm-hmm.
Whitmer wins and sends Butcher on his way. And from there, I mean, the companies, they experienced a really big growth in both of their audiences. I thought that it was a very much a success. I think that, seeing 2 companies work together like this, it just doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen
Yeah.
with 2 big companies very often. You don't really get a lot of these things. ROH does it with New Japan, or they did it with New Japan a couple years later. And it does, World of Worlds was a great concept. It kind of got diluted once all of the talent kind of left the company, but it was a
Yeah.
great idea. But the Invasion storyline, as far as they go, I think this is the most successful Invasion storyline of all time.
Yeah, it works really well, especially with, like the main event being like a part of it, like really good shit.
Yeah. So looking forward, to next month in September on the Spot Callers schedule here.
Oh
We
man.
have AAA Triple Mania 25.
That's gonna be fun to watch. Oh my god.
And just go ahead.
Spanish Heritage Month, man. So you know we had to get AAA in. Probably next year we'll probably get like something like CMLL. Who knows? I haven't finished next year's list.
Yeah, can't wait to watch that. October, we have IWA Mid South, Something to Prove. What made you pick this show?
This match has Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher.
Ah, okay.
And I've never seen the full show. I wanted to see. I looked at the card and I was just like, oh shit! Like there's actually some stuff. We talked about it like way back, but there was something that made us laugh on the card, and I think that's what made me like finalize it. Also, I could find the show.
Yeah. November, we have ROH Unscripted 2. And to round out 2019, we have ECW December to December 2006, which is going to be quite a show. We might have to get a guest for that show.
We'll probably work on it.
As always, thank you for listening. Make sure you check us out at RNC Radio Live on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Please like, subscribe, comment on our channel here. It really does help us out. Please leave a comment, leave us a review. Let us know if you like what we're doing on the A Show RNC channel and on the RNC Radio channel as well. This week we have another episode of the A Show as we trudge toward the road to episode 100 with myself and Meals. We also have the call up with MJ. We have another episode of So Help Me God coming on Monday. We also have the return of RAOP Gaming this week with Ampavelli, and much more coming down the pipeline for RNC Radio. Thank you so much for listening. For Spot Callers, I'm Justin. For Cyrus, we'll see you guys next month.
Peace.